On this episode of Mad Ginger Customs, gotta be honest with you, we got a little bit of a tragedy going on. And let's just get to the video, and it is what it is. All right, guys, welcome back. So we're back on the International. If you haven't seen the videos for this, it's a Mercury Grand Marquis of 2008. We're putting an International 1210 pickup body on it. Had my son help me. Hello. Evan. We took the nose off of it. We took the doors back off. And what we're going to try to do this time is try to get the cab affixed to the floor plate and the firewall, right? Guys, this is a problem because looking up under here, I can't weld in here. I cannot get a welder in there. I'm not really even sure how we're going to do this besides maybe make a plate to slide under, try to tack it, and then lift the body back off, which I really don't want to do that because it needs to go in the exact same spot it's in. I think what we're going to do is measure it up and make sure it's square on the firewall and the floor plate. And then maybe we'll make some braces that'll go from here to here, just kind of hold it. And then if we can lay a piece up and in there, maybe I can tack it and then just lift the truck up, put a fire blanket over it, and then weld it across, or we'll just have to drag the whole chassis back out. I mean, I don't want to do any of that, but this is the big hurdle. This is the big hurdle, is this firewall. I thought about just coming underneath it like this and then coming down and just welding to this, but again, I don't think that that's feasible. And it has to seal, like this has to seal to keep the fumes out, to keep the road noise out, to keep water and debris out. I think the rest of this stuff we can just kind of scab and go as we are. So ideally, that's the first thing we're going to work on because that's the hardest, and I always try to do the hardest things first. And then we're going to make all the pieces that fit in. All here and all here, right here. I believe that we need to lift the back of this another inch to make it level. And then we'll tie it all in. We're going to make a plate for the bottom here. And Evan's probably going to help me do some welding, or at least tack up for me. He's going to be using our Simder SD 4050 Pro. That's all set up for him. That thing does MIG, TIG, stick, plasma cutter, pretty much the jack of all trades. She's a good unit. We did a video. If you guys want to see, we did a review on that thing. It's pretty amazing. So let's get right into this firewall, and we'll see what we can make. The way we're trying to get this curve is the curve under here, right there, is basically the same curve as what we're after. So we're trying to keep it in the curve like this, and then we're running basically a finger across it, and hopefully this is close. So what we're going to do is, this is where it falls off into the dip. So what we're going to do now, we're going to cut this off and cut that off where Evan is, and then we're going to cut this curve, and we're going to see if this piece of cardboard will go up and in. Are you bored yet?
No.
Okay. So this is what Evan and I kind of figured out, right? Now there's bumps from the windshield wipers, but that'll be fine underneath it. So this is basically the curvature. I mean, we have to straighten it out a little bit, and Evan's end has to go just up a smidge. But I think if we have this, and then we slide it up under, right? Evan, let's slide it up under. You gotta come to me a little bit. Now flop your end down. You gotta tap that out. Yeah, because we want it to match. So we're gonna try to get under here like this, and that way we're gonna try to keep it so we can weld it. Wherever we can weld it to this bump out, and then some of this, we'll have to make slits in it like here, and we'll have to slice it, and then just hammer it into the void and then weld it. But I think ultimately, that's our best bet, is to make it as simple as possible. So I think what we're going to do is we'll just measure it equidistant across, and that'll be our template, and we'll put it on a piece of sheet metal, and either cut it out with the shear or cut it out with the plasma cutter. Sound good, Ev?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. So basically this is what we're looking at here. So we are going to weld to the back side of that and then to this brace here. So we'll have to trim and we'll have to flap wheel and we'll have to, you know, make it right. Evan's side's over a little far, but that's okay. And then we'll have to make just scab in a piece over here, you know. It'll go from here and then we'll just scab it in and then tack it in. And then we will, is that wind?
Yeah.
So windy. It's going to rain again in Connecticut, you know, because again, God hates Connecticut.
God hates
Not even God likes Connecticut. And this is going to be a big deal for us. If we can get this thing made and welded in, guys, the rest of it should be fairly simple, where it's just a couple breaks, you know, pretty easy stuff, and then we'll just weld it all and make sure we tie it all in so it's watertight. So we're going to take that piece out, and we're going to get a piece of sheet metal, maybe from over here. We'll set it up here, and I think we're going to, what do you want to use, shear? The shear?
Sure.
Shear. Shear, sure. Normally I would not do this, but I know that we're going to use these pieces on the inside of the doors and stuff. But this is over 4 feet lengthwise, so I can't get that to fit this way. So we're just going to trim it, and then we'll have this piece to cut out smaller pieces in. I know it's a waste. I don't really have an option here. So I'm going to get the shear, and we're going to zip it off. So here we are. The shear kind of does a lot of bending and twisting. Now, granted, the fact that this is going to be underneath it, does it really matter? Does it have to be perfect across? Not really, because we're just going to be tack, tack, tack. Just use a hammer. We're going to kind of tap out the bends where the shear did this. I mean, ideally you could cut it, you know, with a death wheel, but the shear is faster. It makes less of a mess. So kind of, you know, you guys pick your poison kind of thing. So we're just going to tap this thing out flat, and then we're going to try to slide it up in there, and maybe we're remotely close. Here's what we got. So it fits pretty much all up in there. You know, can you get a tack in there? Maybe, maybe not. I think I can get the majority of it, and then we can seam seal the rest. So I got to cut out a little bit over here where there is a the windshield wiper hole. Goes all the way through. We want to block that off. We want to make sure when it rains, it's just going to fall in here and then go down and out. We don't want it on the inside of the dash. So this is getting us up behind it, and we're going to tack above it. So there's depressions where there's not a brace. So we're just going to make a slice, and then we're going to know where we need to bend this in. It's, you know, iffy at best, and this is where there's a hole for the washer, for the wiper arm, which we're not using. So we're going to cut it just so we can push this flat, and then we're going to kind of dimple this over. But I mean, you know, it's a work in progress, guys. You know, I'm not a sheet metal guy. I never claimed to be. I'm just showing you how I do it. I think the majority of all guys that do swaps on the internet never show you this part. None of them do, because I think that none of it comes out right or well, and I'm not probably going to be the exception to that. I'm just telling you that if you watch guys do chassis swaps, you'll never see them do the firewall. I've never seen anyone. You know, Casey's Customs is doing one for I think it's a 1950 Chevy on top of a GTO, which is super cool. He has not addressed that at all, and I don't think he's going to. So anyway, we're gonna make some slices in this. You don't have to watch that, and we'll come back and kind of hammer it in and see how it fits. Be surprised if it's the only thing I get done this weekend. This is time consuming. So I made some just witness marks, and I'm just gonna mark where I gotta just cut a little bit more, trim a little bit, couple little bends so it fits better. But overall, it's in there. So the issue is going to be getting the welder up inside, but I think if I tack the bottom, obviously take everything back out, clean it all up, paint the back of this, and then tack the bottom, I can lean into it and then tack the top and get the MIG in there. We might have to go with the really small MIG, but other than that, I mean, that's going to do it. And then, you know, it's not going to be a solid bead across, but we'll stitch it and then we'll seam seal it, and you know, it'll be tough enough because it's going to have all this built up. So we're going to, you know, angle it in, and we'll do all this. I won't feel like I'm going to die in it. Yeah, a little bit more trimming and truing. You guys don't need to watch that. Frustration level 6,000. I can't get in here with the welder. So what I did was switch to a smaller welder, the Best Arc 145, and I put flux core wire in it so I don't have to have the shielding nozzle on it. And I'm hoping that little thing is going to be good enough where I can push, 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 and just tack from underneath. I'm not sure I can even do this, guys, and I'm literally running out of patience. This is very frustrating. I'm kind of using the screwdriver to push and bend as I go. The bottom, I don't too much care about because I can hammer it where it needs to go and tack as I go. So I think what I'm going to do is try to tack over there first just to get it to hold it. And then maybe I'll try to do one in the middle, you know, because it'll pull together, unfortunately. And then I'll just see how many I can get across the top. Even if it lifts away on the bottom, we don't care about that because we can push it back down. Because the bottom I can get at, the top is a nightmare. So I guess here we go. And there's a ton of wind. Really windy today. Like, it's horrible. Every weekend is horrible here. It's really bad lately. So the flux core will help because shielding gas won't blow away. So, I mean, 2 birds, 1 stone? I don't know. Let's see what we can do. Maybe we can make it work. Can you see me? I don't know. I don't know if this is going to work. I can't even see what I'm doing. Probably should put on at least a glove and just lean into it, I guess. I don't know. Just close our eyes and so hopefully we can tack it. I don't necessarily know any other way to do this. Can't get it. Okay. Can't get it to tack down, guys. Huh. Well, none of that's good. Not sure how I'm going to do this. Maybe the hammer end of the hammer will hold it down. Feels like everything's on fire in the dash. Oh, this truck is on fire. Great. Alright, back to salt. Okay, none of it's gonna work. And this truck's on fire. Well, that concludes this project. Truck's still on fire. Whole fucking dash went up. Had to use a fire extinguisher. This thing's now junk. That's the end of this episode. I don't even know what to do at this point. This whole thing goes to the scrapyard, I guess. Guys, sometimes you just work so hard at something and you fail, and it's fucking horrible. Fuck, whatever. Let me try to clean this up. Guys, I had a pretty good fire in the truck. Happened behind the dash. Looks like AC controls. Pretty bad. We just blew out the garage. It's really bad. We're gonna try to blow this thing off. I don't know if this is a loss. I mean, I think I can just rip all the AC stuff out. I mean, obviously I wanted the AC stuff, but I mean, look at it. I mean, everything is covered in this stuff. My neighbor's a firefighter. He says that I'm not gonna die by breathing this crap, but I was sitting in it while it was on fire and I drove it out. Evan, come run this. We're gonna blow it that way because actually maybe we'll blow it this way. Which way is the wind blowing?
It's blowing at me.
At you, so come over to this side. I don't want to blow it at you. Yeah, the whole heater box lit on fire, all plastic. I mean, you can't really see it up in there. But everything's melted, the controller's melted. This whole dash. I mean, we could take the dash out and kind of clean it, but I don't think it runs. I drove it out of the garage on fire, so it still runs. It was just the heater controls. Worst case scenario, we won't have air conditioning. Throw this out. You can smell the plastic. Smell the plastic.
Oh, wire came out right here.
Let me see.
It's wire, right?
Oh yeah.
Rubber.
Yeah, it's burnt wire.
Oh, yep.
Well, guys, unfortunately, it's gonna do it for this weekend. I can't do much more with this thing. We gotta clean up. So I'll come back to you. All right, guys. So we're gonna have to pressure wash the whole thing. I gotta clean this lens. It's so bad. Man, I can taste that stuff in my mouth. We can pressure wash the motor. We're going to have to take the cab back off, and we're gonna have to take the entire dash out and then wipe everything down and clean it. And there's a controller in here, which I don't know what that controller does. We can figure it out. Look at all this powder still. I've been blowing this thing out for 20 minutes. There's a lot of melted stuff. I don't know what. There's like a. I don't know if this is a hose or. I don't know what this is. That's all melted. All the wiring in here is melted. So we may not have air conditioning. But I mean, if the truck does run and move because I drove it out of the garage on fire. So I think that's gonna do it, guys, for this episode. Obviously not the outcome we were looking for. We were looking for it to get this thing mounted up. You know, we take a step backwards. So like and subscribe if you want to see me burn more cars to the ground. And hopefully this thing will be resurrected. I don't know how soon we're gonna get back on it, to be honest with you. We might do some other stuff. I got some maintenance stuff I gotta do on a bunch of stuff. If I can do it, you don't want to do it. Don't light your cars on fire. Hey, learn from me. Had a fire extinguisher. You guys need a fire extinguisher if you're working on stuff like this and you're welding. Learn that lesson. I'm fortunate enough that I did have one next to me. I did put this out. I did not lose my garage. I did not lose the vehicle. So thanks for watching.